win rate apart from that last game, but we are into champion select and we'll see whether Team Coast change around these bans. Of course, Nidalee being taken off the board, of course, one of Inox's signature champions. Nunu going to be taken off here as well. I don't think we're going to see Nunu. He's so strong in the jungle at the moment.
Yeah, and he can just secure objectives and he buffs your late game so well. So he lends himself well to early game, fighting over the blue buffs, securing early dragons with that max consume that we've seen become so popular, but also just late game is great utility for the team with the slowdowns as well as the speed up.
Creates that hyper carry instead of a hyper carry.
And
but Lee Sin ban, there it is, learning.
Will not see Lee Sin for the rest of this series. I'll put my money on it right now.
I already did.
Taken off the board. We see Zilean being banned away as well.
Same bans from Evil Geniuses. They're not phased, I don't think, at this stage.
So look for the Alistair to come through. Next for them, Zilean, just such a versatile pick. He completely ambiguous, buffs lanes with his passive. Alistair actually comes out from Coast, so EG do have to swap up their bans. Let's see what they take off the board. Maybe a Maokai.
Maybe a Maokai, maybe a Zed as well. That one is available, but I think the tree, although in that last game, not necessarily as prominent. See what they don't want Coast picking up. Of course, that Lucian will be first pickable. 100% win rate on MASH. Well, on Lucian for MASH. So maybe not wanting to see that one. It's going to be Janna.
Okay, so Janna's being taken away. Maybe they know something about Sheep.
Aframu had a fantastic game on Janna.
He definitely did, and Sheep had a very solid game last game on Thresh.
Oh, yeah.
The bottom lane from Coast going through the early game looked completely rock solid in the laning phase. They just got collapsed on it. Unfortunately, a bad team fight came through. So Coast right now do have the opportunity to first pick a Zed, but Pobelter does play, the Fizz in the mid lane, which can deal with it perfectly fine.
Well, Pobelter actually also just plays everything in that mid lane. We saw his Ari was terrifying. You could imagine that even, well, they do go for it.
So they go for
see what the answer is.
Zed, so maybe the Fizz will come through here, of course, with that playful trickster, able to dodge the initial part of the ultimate. And Helios, now that Lee Sin is banned, is hovering the Kha'Zix. We've seen that this is such a contested pick. Yeah,
and he also manages to take it away from Santorin as well, forcing him onto a different jungler. So we'll see whether he manages to do it. Of course, Elise is going to be his second favorite. We do know that one, of course, from the Challenger Series, so he is going to hover that one. Lucian has gone over to Altec again, though, so putting a lot of priority on this pick, or a lot of priority into taking it away from MASH.
And already a much better early game team comp out of Coast. They've got some CC on Santorin. They've picked up the Lulu, who's a little bit of a lane bully, looking to get a more solid early game to be able to shore up some of the weaknesses we saw.
Yep, Pobelter actually looking at that Syndra. We saw a lot of Syndra hype over at the desk. We'll see whether it does come through. See whether they get exactly what they wanted. Dominating Crumbs. Altec does have the option here of picking up the Rise here for Inox, because that was banned away the last time. See whether that is what they want to go with, but of course into this early game focus comp, that might be dangerous.
Yeah, and they also have the option here for Maokai, who I think just fits their comp so much better with the long range pick that can come out of a Syndra, able to twist it, advance on there, lock it down, and just ensure that they're blown up. Add some hard CC to a team that right now is lacking a little bit, so maybe you could pick up. You cannot understate the importance of, if you have a jungler that does not bring hard CC, getting some on your mid laner, because it just makes ganking so much easier, and they've been able to do that. MASH and Sheep have gone to a completely lane bully heavy lane.
Wow, that is an old lane as well.
Locking in the Kate and the Nami, they're looking to push lanes out very, very early and take objectives. They've got so much wave clear, and we do see that Inox will be picking up Rise.
And do you think that was in reaction to this Caitlyn pickup, who's very, very strong in the late game, and perhaps Inox just wanting to be able to have something to scale up there as well? Although, very short range on that Rise. I'm not entirely sure what he decides to do, but he is going to go for it. And against Miracle, we'll see what he can make happen. Of course, Rise early game hasn't looked that bad here against Lulu in the matchups we've seen previously.
Yeah, can do absolutely fine in the lane. I have a lot of faith in Inox. As we said, he played 14 champions in 28 games. He can play anything in that top lane. The bottom lane will be crucial in this game. Team Coast have gone for an absolute bully lane, and the short range of Lucian will mean that there is a stage of the game where Caitlyn can take complete advantage of it. A lot of the pressure is now on Crapo, who picked up that Braum once again. He had a great first game with some of his engages to block a lot of that damage with his Unbreakable.
Yeah, it's true. They had a fantastic game last game, but we'll see whether this Caitlyn does come through, because of course that Tidecaller's Blessing with such a long range is just so hard to deal with. It's just that those 3 shots will always come off and do so much damage without any rebuttal.
And Braum is known for the pseudo counter to Nami because, of course, you can unbreakable that tidal wave and it just loses effect for the rest of the team.
Yep.
However, during the mid game, it can become a standoff where Nami just refuses to throw the tidal wave, so Braum can't put the shield up to block any of the other abilities. And then as soon as it is down, the tidal wave can come through. It's a great disengage ability as well. You don't necessarily have to use it for the engage. So I think that it's more a skill match than people do give it credit for.
Yeah, we'll see whether it does come through. Of course, we are getting onto the Rift right now. EG versus Coast, and we'll see whether EG can come through with another win or whether Coast is going to take this one back now that they have a little bit more early game pressure. Of course, now on the blue side is Coast and EG in the red shorts.
Yeah, we saw a lot of funny business at the start of last game. However, we do see the
results though, yeah.
Banning out this time, playing much more controlled, looking to just secure the entrances to their jungle, potentially going for some red buff wards to make sure they know exactly where Santorin is on this Elise. Of course, with that Cocoon and her Repel, has a lot more early game presence than what a Kha'Zix can have.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see Miracle having a bit of a giggle there, just letting us know that that last game didn't phase him. No, still more than happy to chuckle his way up to that top lane. Ringer also more than happy to, so Dark Sphere is not even going to find him. He's just going to keep laughing at Pobelt is just, he's really upset about this. He almost wants to go back and say, oh guys, this keeps I don't like it here anymore.
We do see that Sheep and Crepper have ran into each other, so they're able to get some waves down. Advantage Sheep picking up
so
some
much
gold
money
for himself. Early game to Coast.
Yep, really well played. Santorin managing to get a ward right on
Mash
top
has
of
taken
Helios.
half of his health somehow. Looks like the bottom lanes did bump into each other. Alltech also took some damage, so they're just going to recall.
Yep, apparently bumping into each other. That's about half your health in damage, everyone, just so you know.
And we do see that it will be a red buff start for Helios, so looking to end on the bottom side of the map this time around. And the same will be done for Santorin, of course. He'll be in top side, looking to put some early game pressure on Ryze, because we've seen if Ryze can get unmolested through the early game, he can turn into an absolute beast late game.
That is exactly right. And of course, EG may have thought about a lane swap, but you do not want to put Ryze into this 1v2 situation. So intelligent decision, but they do have to go against the harass potential of Sheep and Mash on these ridiculous champions earlier. Oh, Pobelter now landing the Dark Sphere. Ringer ain't laughing no more.
But with the Doran shield, he just feels that he has the tankiness needed to push up this lane. A lot more aggressive coming out of the mid laner on the side of Coast. So good to see that he's undeterred by the last game. And it will just be standard lanes. Yeah, although wow, he needs to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage in here.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much at this stage.
And with the lane where it is, it didn't get within turret range. Pobelter's going to be level 2 soon, and he can't go anywhere near this creep wave. He's going to be completely zoned.
Very, very scary. Of course, Ringer able to use those shurikens in order to clear out these creeps. But going to miss one. Potentially a second, but Inox in the top lane. Miracle. Look at that glitter lance as well, landing it perfectly. But Inox he will not be able to approach this wave either.
Yeah, so complete swing around from the mid to the top. Miracle on Lulu looking to bully Inox out of lane. However, that will be running into his turret quite soon. But having to use his health potions early in this matchup doesn't bode well for the Ryze.
Yeah, Miracle just getting Inox back for doing exactly the same thing.
And on cue, Elise is heading top lane. This could be an easy gank for Santorin and a really good boost on the side of Coast to get some early morale into this game.
And we all know how Elise can really juggle that turret aggro with the repel. See, when this creep wave does hit the turret, he's come in. Inox is in a lot of trouble. This is very, very scary. Misses the cocoon though. Santorin takes a lot of damage, but gives a kill back in return.
Complete disaster on the side of Santorin. You don't want to trade that kill in an early game gank.
Oh, Ringer getting stunned up here in the mid lane as well. Pobelter hanging on to that ignite. Doesn't want to use it early, and Ringer is just in so much trouble here.
So nearly the perfect setup in the top lane, getting Elise in there early to quite frankly shut down a Ryze. He has to blow his teleport. He didn't blow his flash, which was quite level-headed play on the side of Inox. However, trading the kill back just means that he's completely fine in this lane now. Only a 6 CS advantage, so that's not much to write home about.
It certainly isn't, and of course, Miracle would want to be bullying him relatively hard here because he doesn't have quite as much of a scale into this late game. as a Rise would. Got there in the end.
However, it does have a lot of utility, and they can buff Mash quite a lot with both the Nami and the Lulu, being able to add some extra damage. And it looks like they will be getting some extra wards out in the bot lane, just making sure they're relatively safe.
But look at this.
It's actually going in Lucian's favor. When we harped on about how good Caitlyn is early game, Santorin's not done with his ganks. He wants more.
Yeah, Pobelter in a bit of trouble. Just going to wander around that cocoon and put the damage back onto Ringer. He's not scared of anything.
Definitely not. And looking to go aggressive as soon as the cocoon misses. And now Helios is coming into the mid lane looking for a gank himself. Ooh, Inox is in trouble. Yeah,
Inox still in a lot of trouble, and you can see we've got the gank coming in from Santorin as well. Oh, the cocoon forces the flash out, but Inox is going to die. Perfect use of the repel. And Ringer is now in a lot of trouble. Oh, Pobelter misses the Scat of the Week combo with that Dark Sphere, unfortunately, but Helios is here, does get the slow, but here are the members from Coast from the top lane, and EG say, no, oh, okay, yep, let's get out of here.
And a much better early game from Santorin. 2 ganks already in the top lane, looking to get Miracle ahead. 1-1-1. This is so much better in the early game. As I said, get him a character with hard CC, allow him to influence these lanes, and get his solos ahead. Look how solid Mash and Sheep are. They're completely unperturbed by what is a very aggressive bottom lane in Crebo and Alltech.
Crebo just trying to get a little bit of CS there with his Winter's Bite. Takes a lot of damage for it, but his AD carry has gone back to base. 500 gold lead now for Team Coast. And that's a lot to do with that jungle and top lane combo.
Yeah, as I said, complete transformation. He looks so much better. And the mid lane...
Helios, though, he hasn't come out of the jungle yet. Do you think that he's hard farming for a particular breakpoint?
He did try and influence the gank, and it just got turned around. Ringer, unfortunately, was able to escape because of the Scatter Weak combo missing. That's the only lane that's completely going in their favor. That's nearly a 20 CS advantage at 6 minutes in the game, so that's quite scary. Helios might be going for his level 6 just to ensure he has some poke in the slow to be able to set Pobelter up even easier for these ganks. However, I think before they got the second gank on the top on Inox, he just felt that his team was going equal, so he didn't necessarily have to force the pace of the game.
And Pobelter and Ringer have both hit that level 6. This is going to be very, very difficult, of course. It's about who uses their ultimate first. Because if Pobelter uses his first, the Deathmark can come through and possibly nullify a lot of that damage. But if he waits until afterwards, there's a potential that Ringer can just put himself straight into Pobelter's face and Pobelter just kills him outright.
And now that Inox's flashes down there, continuing the camp in the top lane, the wave is perfectly positioned for a freeze, or as Ringer takes a lot of damage, but he can't approach his lane at all. Helios coming up the top to try and give him a helping hand.
Yeah, there's the flash. Inox actually has his ultimate up, has a lot of extra movement speed, but Helios is here now. See whether he comes through. Nice double W and landing on that one, but there's the wild growth. Helios gets immediately taken out. Had no idea how strong this top lane was from Coast, and really nice turnaround into turnaround from Team Coast.
And this time it looked like EG had the miscommunication, completely split damage, electing to go onto the jungler, whilst Inox did want to go on to Miracle. And another kill for this Lulu, as well as a CS advantage, 2-0-1.
Yeah.
During the mid game, she's going to just impact fights so hard with all of her utility.
Yeah, Lulu getting terrifying. These dragon fights is probably where they're going to be looking to next. Of course, a couple of minutes would be the standard time for them to go to that. Coast have a ward in the pit, but EG currently with a couple more. So ward battle, winning for EG as far as the numbers are concerned. Santorin wandering around his enemy jungle, just getting the vision here. And you can see Coast with so much more confidence now, happy to ward really aggressively. Although it's not going to last very long.
Pobelter able to sweep that one out, spotting it from their pink ward that hasn't been seen in that little side brush near the river. So donating the blue buff to Zed in the mid lane, just ensuring that he's always put well. There's some aggression in the bot lane.
There's a nice stand behind me, but Winter's Bite not quite going to find Mash. Of course, with that extra movement speed from Nami's passive, makes him pretty difficult to lock down. Tidecrawler's Blessing allowing him to kite a lot as well, so not too bad. Pobelter going to be grabbing up this blue buff. And pretty comfortable, but Coast now, a bit of a lead here so far. Not quite 1,000 just yet, but, you know, 9 minutes into the game, 1,000's pretty good.
Yeah, looking much more comfortable in this game. The top lane has a massive advantage, however, that's replicated in the mid lane on the side of EG. And otherwise, it's just Santorin's ganks that have been successful. He's been a part of 100% of his team's kills.
And he's transitioning this also into vision. He's picked up that really early sidestone, and I like that. It's at least not necessarily utilized for her ability to carry a team, but more for a utility. And now,
face check, they're in trouble.
Yeah, Crepo's actually catches double CC here. There's the tidal wave as well. Unbreakable was not available. There's the teleport. Last minute ultimate not going to be enough, and the teleport coming in. This is going to mean Coast get a dragon.
Yeah, 4 kills to 1 now and a dragon. The vision control coming out of Coast is just so much better than it was last game. And once again, Santorin setting the pace for his team, able to get in there and impact these ganks. This is going to be quite a good lead at this point of the game. 2,000 gold and looking much better.
They haven't been phased by what was arguably a stomp in the last game. Coast looking fantastic in this one, and Ringer now coming up into the top lane. Inox, be a little bit careful, of course. Zed dangerous now that he's got that Bilgewater Cutlass and that Death Mark available. A little bit of extra burst.
Yeah, so good rotation from Ringer here, actually. He knows that he's struggling within his lane, so he just leaves completely, goes and helps the top turret, picks himself up a full wave of CS, and there's no danger of him getting picked by Pobelter. So better map movements around the whole of the map. All the players look like they're playing so much better. Maybe just some land jitters for game 1, but it looks like we have a serious game on our hands this time around.
We certainly do, of course. This mid lane turret getting pressured. Pobelter, I think his combo not quite going to find Ringer here, and he's going to be able to clear this one up. But again, turret's getting pressured down here by EG, and we'll see whether they can get back hold onto this game. Inox now having a better time, has actually caught up in CS, made up for the fact that teleport was used by Miracle to get towards that dragon, but 2-0 and 2, he's still going to have so much more money, and we can see the Athenes coming down very, very shortly at the same time. And Amtomb, just an extra book there.
And even though he's caught up in CS, he's still down 2 kills, a kill and 2 assists, sorry. And Santorin isn't letting up pressure. He's now on Pobelter as well.
Oh, there's the flash. Deathmark comes through. There's the ult in response. So Ringer's it. He's going to die. Straight up, Pobelter, fantastic. Using that Ignite, making sure he gets that damage down. Turns it around 2v1.
Wow, the mechanics coming out of Pobelter there. We've said for years that he's mechanically one of the most solid players in the North American scene, and you could see it right there. Complete mastery of his champion, able to turn around a 2v1 and blow up the Zed in the mid lane.
That was ridiculous. And as we said, whoever waits the longest, and Pobelter waited the longest. Fantastic work. Miracle manages to block that Q from Inox there with a nice little shield, but can't do it twice in a row.
Inox showing off some fancy footwork there, dodging out on the Glitterland.
It's sandwiched a little bit by that one.
Okay, so now Pobelter is the saving grace on the side of EG. He's the one that's got a 40 CS advantage. He's now picked up a kill. Doesn't even feel like he needs to go for a Zhonya's. He's happy to go with his Chalice build.
Yeah.
Just feels no pressure from this Zed whatsoever in the early game.
Yeah, just wants to have as much mana to play with as possible. We've seen Morellonomicons coming out and different things like this when you are faced with that AD mid lane. Of course, not necessarily needing as much of that magic resist, but with an Elise and a Lulu on the team as well, it's not unhelpful to have that extra MR. So nice work, and Athene's fantastic for that region.
Yeah, and we see that the bottom lane has swung slightly in favor of EG. However, the kill on Caitlyn will, of course, put MASH at a gold advantage, as well as the dragon pickup. However, they're just not pushing the lane you're used to seeing. Caitlyn would push a lane as wow, look at that damage.
Scatter the Weak combo doing so much work. There's the ult coming down again. Is he going to be able to land at Pobelter? Their last one, and calculated damage. Pobelter's fantastic on this champion.
And he played it so calm. As soon as he saw that he needed one more, just strolled forward, picked up the last Q, going to be able to pick up a turret, completely equalized gold here. And wow, Pobelter is having a beautiful game.
He really, really is, making use of the fact that you can use those Dark Spheres whilst walking as well. One of Syndra's fantastic boons here in the mid lane, so you don't get people just walking away from you while you're using your spells. So really, really fantastic. And we can see 2-0-0 now, and no assists for those. That was just all Pobelter.
Yeah, being able to get the solo kill, that will feel so good. And it puts him in a situation now where Syndra can solo out anyone on the map nearly, with maybe the exception of Lulu. Miracle having a great game in the top lane. Will be able to wild growth someone, but if he catches someone with a long-range Scatter of the Weak, there's so much follow-up from both Crepo and Helios. Whoa, there's some fight in the bottom lane.
Unbreakable is going to block away that tidal wave. Crepo is, of course, still going to be knocked up from that one. But nothing really going to come from it.
Ward battle there. Unfortunately, Ride's attack animation a little bit too slow to clear that one out.
Not known for his auto attacks, is it?
But now there's another gang.
Yeah, Santorin coming through, really wants to be able to land this cocoon, staying very, very patient on this one. There it is, Flash going to be blown again. And it's sort of like a standard situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it just looks like every single time Inox's Flash is up, however, he has to burn it.
Yep.
So not going to be able to use it aggressively in the next team fight. For this Dragon, both teleports are up. And this is where I feel that Coast need to group up as 5 and force a team fight and make sure that they don't get picked off. If they want to fight this, they need to ensure that they're completely as a unit and not give EG any potential to catch someone out with a Braum or a Syndra and just destroy someone off the map. Otherwise, this game could start getting dangerous. They're stronger as a 5-man unit.
That's very true, and with their most fed member in this isolated top side of the map as well, it makes it very difficult for Miracle to really have an impact and transfer his gold into his team as well. So right now, with Pobelter right in the center here, he's in the thick of things, he can really influence it, and with his lead, we know that he's probably going to as well. But Miracle still shoving this one up. Inox not having the best time here, as he generally does. Cops another glitter lance, and Pix is just going from every angle at all. Bit of geometry happening in the top lane. Always fun to see.
It looks like Inox just wanted to push the wave out, doesn't really mind about his health. He needs to shop. However, Coast, the perfect move, looking to push it their advantage in the bottom lane. However, Helios right in the wings, waiting for this to come through.
Yeah, no ward there at all. Does have those wings evolved, as we've been seeing, is the popular tactic. But no joy. And of course, the wave clear from Altec on this Lucian has been fantastic. You can see, look at the CS advantage from Pobelter here in the mid lane, just growing and growing. 161 to 116, about a 50 CS lead at 16 minutes. That is ridiculous, and that's why EG are now further ahead, because they're down a Dragon.
Yeah, and Santorin looking to catch out Helios, although the advantage is now in EG's favor.
Yeah, the Unbreakable is going to be there, caught by the Aqua Prison. Santorin takes so much damage! Altec really making use of his passive on that one. Sheep using that ebb and flow, but was unable to help his jungler on that one. Santorin with this squishy Elise build, unable to take any of that, and that was just incredible damage.
Yeah, and without Miracle there, they just couldn't fight it. Unfortunately, their Fed member is in the top lane. This means Dragon on the side of EG. EG
not getting rattled by this early game disadvantage that they might have got in the top lane.
Yeah, well, they're just confident in their scaling. Of course, Pobelter will be able to delete anyone at any point of the game. Inox is going to scale extremely well. Helios will become more of a damage threat as the game goes on, and they're just continually looking to force picks by getting wards into the enemy jungle now.
Yeah, and with this, the tier and Rod of Ages being completed by about that 16-minute mark, I think was when Inox picked that one up. So pretty decent timing on that one. You'd think if you build a tier first, Rod of Ages timing at about 16 minutes is pretty good. So Inox, despite having a pretty difficult time early on, is still looking pretty
And this is very reminiscent of the last game. 4 members of EG in this bottom lane. Coaster in a lot of trouble.
Oh, there's a stun onto Sheep. There's a flash forward to the Winter's Bite. Mash cops that one. The very end of the Glacial Fissure. The stun with one last auto attack. The flash is there. Helios has got him. Crapo's going to take it, though. Bloodthirsty support. Miracle's going to go down. Sheep as well. The teleport was not enough by Team Coast, and this coordinated play from EG, so strong.
And just recognizing the bottom lane is the lane that's still going extremely equal and getting the advantage in EG's favor. 2-1 and 2 now on Crapo. 1-0 and 2. No rotation down from Santorin. Just beautiful map movement from EG with their ward control.
Yep, Santorin trying to make an answer here by taking some creeps in the mid lane, but not quite with enough wave clear to make that work. Helios has found his way in. So EG with just fantastic cross-map play. 4,000 gold now, the lead at 18 minutes. And
3-1 and 0 in mid lane. We keep going back there.
Yep.
But he's got 2 completed items against 2 partial items on the side of Ringer, not having a fantastic game on Zed. And then you look at Altec out of nowhere, picked up his Infinity Edge as we jump into this replay. So look at how dark the jungle is. The Scatter the Weak comes through, stuns up Sheep, and the teleport actually comes through at the perfect time on the side of Coast. But just too much damage coming out of Helios, able to follow Mash's flash. Prepo picks up that kill, and now it's just a free-for-all under the turret. Unfortunately, nobody able to pick any kills up, balancing that well, but we have a gank in the top lane.
Yeah, straight into a fight in the top lane. Nice bait with the wild growth here coming through from Miracle. He's going to go down 1-for-1, but nicely played by Miracle in order to get that kill because, oh man, Altec was so angry.
And looking for another kill.
Yeah, Deathmark coming in as well. Action all across this map. Crapo, he's going to fall down. Mash picks up that kill. Pobelt are now in a lot of trouble. They want this shutdown. Cocoon lands Santorin, but look at the early Zhonya's already being picked up. The shutdown coming through from Ringer. Didn't even expect that item to be here yet.
3 for 1, the exchange coming out of Coast, and great aggressive play once again from Santorin. 6 kills he's been of the 7 for his team. That brings the gold lead back within 3k, a manageable amount, and they're going to be able to transition this into another turret, although looks like EG still want something to do with this fight.
Yeah, Helios coming around the backside, manages to get a W into their face. And, that turret still alive, so Coast giving EG the respect, but Pobelt dying like that, I mean, that's big shutdown, and Coast answering what was a fantastic move in the bottom lane with a fantastic move all over the rest of the map.
Yeah, but EG feeling confident, looking to aggress onto this blue buff after so many ultimates went down. Deathmark isn't back up. They're going to have to give this one up uncontested. The play that impressed me the most was Altec in the top lane.
Yeah.
Even though he knew he was going to go down, through everything he had at picking up an equalizing kill.
Yeah.
So able to trade back 1 for 1. However, Santorin's flash over the wall just ensured that Pobelter wasn't going to live. And 3 for 1 trade on the side of Coast. When they're about 4,500 gold down at that point, you have to say is a great trade, and getting some gold on Ringer is exactly what they needed.
Yep, Altec though now does have his 2-item spike with that Static Shiv and the Infinity Edge. Static Shiv still only 600 gold away here for Mash, so if he does decide to go back once he gets that, he'll be able to answer. But in a turret now under a lot of fire, and we've seen so far in this series, EG just always moving towards the turret, always making sure that they have the objectives in mind.
And because of the way the last fight was fought on the side of Coast, their wards are much deeper, so they don't have the immediate wards around the entrances to their jungle, so they're quite blind to these rotations of EG, going to be able to pick up a turret.
That was too easy here for EG. That is the best turret to get in order to get that control. Inox now more than happy to pressure this top wave as well, and as we know, Ryze not great at hitting these turrets, but he's going to do his best, and 4 members actually have been brought out, and that's going to mean inner turret in the bottom lanes. The out rotations here from EG are fantastic.
And it's just because without vision, they can't follow a pick comp into the jungle. It would be absolute suicide. Walking into not only I guess Altec, who's quite fed at this point, but a Kha'Zix, Syndra in the mid lane, they just do so much damage if you are isolated. They're going to pick up another turret for their trouble. That's 2 of 3 outers down now. And out of nowhere, back to 6,000 gold. It was about 45 seconds ago that I said that was only wow as Mash gets a chunk.
Yep, nice little snipe there by Pobelter, but the rest of Coast was around just to take care of Mash and make sure that he didn't lose his head.
A miracle. Still keeping his sense of humor in that top lane.
Certainly is. That is a maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
As Inox do see again coming into Inox here.
There's the Deathmark coming through, forcing the flash immediately. Wild Growth coming through. There's the passive slow. Inox isn't going anywhere here. Ringer answers a kill on the side of Coast. That's even kills now, EG and Coast. But look at EG. They are pressuring everywhere at the same time. Half health now on this inner inhibitor turret.
And they might even get it. It's down very low. Santorin takes a lot of damage. The tidal wave does come through.
Pobelter wandering around everything, but that's not going to be enough. Wasn't even able to use that Zhonya's Hourglass there either. Very, very nice tidal wave in order to secure that kill, and I think they got a little bit too excited about getting that turret.
They definitely got greedy, and this might spell a Baron. They're going for Dragon. However, the percentage damage that comes out of Elise, as well as the Blade of the Ruined King on the Zed, they can do this so fast, and I think they might have just been spotted by the ward, but they need to get over there so quickly. Teleport's coming in.
Yeah, from Inox coming in, seeing whether he can make something happen, but he's all on his own. Aqua Prison comes down. Inox, what were you doing there, buddy? Not quite able to land that one.
And this is a potential turnaround that they might need, although
he got a lot of damage down though. The culling coming through, doing a fair bit of work here. Glacial Fissure coming through as well. Sheep now taking up the Baron. He doesn't have a lot of health. We'll see whether EG can get something done here. Baron down so low. Mash now fails to flash, unfortunately, but Helios isn't in the Baron pit. It's down so low, does get secured by Coast. And EG now getting CC'd to high heaven. Helios forced to get the heck out of here. This might be the issue that EG are going to run into. They can't get around these Barons and teleport in that early.
Yeah, so only getting the Baron back is huge because it's only a 4,000 gold advantage now, and that's what the Baron buff gives you. This is the perfect stall that they needed. The wave clear can come out of Caitlyn. as well as Miracle in the top lane on Lulu. And let's take a look at that again. They go in for the fight, and Helios decides that he can blow up Mash and doesn't need to be there for the smite. What that does is it gives Santorin a completely free smite, and Ringer just gets so much damage down at that point. Takes Altec away, and because Pobelter's not there, that's all their damage. Helios has no more mana. They can't fight. Yeah, and another 3 kills, and the Baron picked up.
What I found weird was the fact that Helios did kill Mash and then didn't reset in to try and steal the Baron, but we shall see whether that does work out in the future. And Baron buff now onto Team Coast, still at a deficit. So we'll see whether EG can turtle this one out, wait until those stats have dissipated and then continue their reign, because what Coast has is a lot of static gold still left on this map. If they manage to use their Baron buff in order to get these outer turrets, which are difficult to contest, then we could see this game evening up very quickly.
Yeah, there's 5 outer turrets on the map on the side of Coast that if we... advantage, I'm sorry. So if they get one team fight with this Baron buff, they might be able to absolutely clean up some of the map and really swing that gold lead back into their favor. However, it does look like, once again, EG just trying to get ward pressure down, make it so they can't walk through their own jungle and just continue this stranglehold, so they're forced to farm waves with their Baron buff.
Oh, Mash, having enough attack speed to clear out a ward is a fantastic feeling. He's going to be able to do that one, and Helios unable to keep vision of that Wraith brush, but see whether Coast make a move, because it's sort of the onus on them at this stage to make a play, and haven't necessarily been doing that. They've been reacting to a lot of what EG have been doing around this map. Yeah,
and once again, EG have just thrown Inox into this bottom lane, trying to split push against the Baron buff. They trust in Pobelter and Helios and Wave Clear, but this mid lane turret will go down. First one of the game on the side of Coast.
Santorin does get caught up. Nice unbreakable from Crepo, and then the stand behind me to get him to safety. Decent work here. Of course, they have to respect the damage potential of Pobelter.
And a potential flank from Rise is coming through.
Yep, Inox walking towards the members of Team Coast. Not going to be able to make any of this one. Of course, lots of speed available coming out of course, Miracle and Sheep.
And putting the blue buff onto Mash means that he'll be able to tilt over the waves much more frequently, help clear out all of the siege pressure that is coming through continually from EG, even though they're against a Baron buff team. They just feel they still have the advantage, even with the 5,000 gold lead they have, even though the Baron did go across onto Coast.
Yeah, Helios with a very sort of different build than what we've been seeing in a lot of these Kha'Zix is already finishing up that Black Cleaver, and more of Malmortius has been more of the option if you want some of that damage, so I like that one, making sure that Altec can get as much damage off as possible in these fights.
I think that full damage Kha'Zix is actually one of the most effective ways to play him, especially because Santorin funneled a lot of his gold into team tanky items. It means that if any of the picks come through, Helios can add his damage to the isolated targets. So I like the way he's gone with his build. Look for him to pick up a Last Whisper next to really shred through all of that armor that's being brought on the side of Coast, although they haven't picked up anything yet, so he's just going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and that's probably why, of course, it's flat armor shred on that Black Cleaver. So intelligent move, noticing the fact that his opponent hasn't purchased any armor yet and building accordingly. Well played. EG now wandering around,
so it looks like they have now nearly stalled out this Baron. That will be, it is off now, and they've only picked up 2 turrets for it. So they've been able to get 2 turrets off the map. They still don't have much control left, and you would think that EG giving up a disadvantaged team fight like that will be happy with only giving up 2 outer turrets, 2 first-tier turrets for that Baron buff that they gave away.
And when that bottom outer turret went down, I mean, it's still a 4,000 gold lead here for EG. So still in the lead. Of course, Bloodthirster now finished onto Altec. He has a lot of damage. And we mentioned the fact that there's no armor, and that's why he hasn't built a Last Whisper. He has a dagger in his back pocket as well. And he might be going for what is possibly a Phantom Dancer, or no, he's just going to finish his boots. I'm just a bit mental. Yep. Zerk Scream's going to be coming through next for Altec.
As Helios gets chunked down to about half health, he's going to be fine with that. Both teleports are up for the top laners. Of course, Miracle was just split pushing in that bottom lane. He is having a great game. 10,000 gold has been eclipsed by Mash in the bottom lane. 11,000, nearly 12,000 on Altec and 11,000 on Pobelter. So you can see exactly where the gold's sitting at the moment.
Yeah.
And because MASH hasn't bought, they will be very confident to pick up this Dragon.
Yeah, this will be the next one to pick up. Of course, they did pick up that last one just before the Baron did go down for Coast. So that's 3 or 4 Dragons.
And good move here on the side of Coast. They're looking to trade for a top tier turret. So all the first tier turrets finally fall on the side of Coast. However, as the game goes later, Dragon just becomes more and more valuable as opposed to those turrets. And it looks like they want to force down mid lane now. Now that the buff's expired, they think that they can just have another crack at breaking into the base.
So these Peacemakers are coming through. They're doing a lot of damage to these minions. Scrappo tries to take away a bit of that, and look at the wave pool, it's ridiculous.
But one of those fears took MASH to 3/4 health there. If he gets a full combo on, I think that he can honestly be blown up at this point. As we see, Pobelter has picked up that Void Staff now.
Yeah, possibly looking to build that Rabbidan's Deathcap next up on that Syndra, and at that stage, he's just going to have so much damage. And half health still on this inhibitor turret. It does regen its health, so they did manage to get at least a couple of auto attacks off just before. Ooh, stun not going to be able to land, and they only have a very small window to EG to actually start these fights. Ooh, Helios getting caught up there a little bit. Half health now on the Kha'Zix.
Great support coming in from Creppo. They might, because they're having a little bit of trouble sieging right now, they might look in about 10 seconds to go set up around Baron, try and deny as much vision as possible, make Coast face check, and play the comp out that way. At this point, with still a 5,000 gold advantage, Coast would be very hesitant to fight in the open. They are looking for a bad turret dive.
Yep, Helios still waiting there. Does have a pink ward, knows that he's not spotted, and lots of pings from Coast going towards that Baron. They've got vision available around there, but EG now able to demand their own presence.
And it's now been completely swept out, so they are face checking. Sheep going in, missing that bubble. And this is so scary on Coast's side.
Oh, there's a 2-man stun there coming through, and look at all the damage from EG. They got the pick that they need. Helios coming down as well now. Sheep is not locked in this well, but that's a nice exhaust. Acro Prison going to land onto one. That's going to be Inox out of that. And this is exactly what EG needed.
Yeah, denying vision, ensuring they had to face check. They're going to move on to a Baron right now. That will put their advantage out to about 8,000 gold with the Baron buff. They're going to be able to go back and buy, and they've reasserted their dominance on this series.
Yeah, and we'll see whether when EG has the Baron buff, whether it's a different story, because of course we've been seeing them be so aggressive. 6,000 gold, as you mentioned, and Baron definitely going to be going down at this stage. And that combination of ultimates, and Creppo has been so on point on this brawl.
So they deny complete vision, and this is where they have to walk in. They think that Santorin is a good target. However, Pobelter lands a fantastic 2-man stun, followed up by his team fantastically, and from here they're just able to clean up, jumping in, taking out Sheep. Helios goes over the wall again, looking for some more members to see if he can slow them. Not the case, able to just turn around, take Baron, and now the target is those 3 remaining turrets around the edge of Coast space.
And we'll see whether they can pull the siege off. Those 2 members just died straight away. I didn't even know who it was, because their nameplates were barely even there.
That was so much burst. They got caught out there. And in this series, look at the spread of kills across EG. They're just such a well-balanced team. Their bottom lane, we've talked about their early game aggression. Inox got camped so hard at the start of this game by Santorin, who played the early game fantastically, 3, 2, and 5. He's the saving grace on his team at the moment with Miracle. He's come through fine now. He's got 3 core items as well as a Negatron Cloak. He's scaling well. And then Helios and Pobelter, inseparable duo. They're really carrying their team through just such a well-spread kill across a fantastically balanced team.
And look at Altec's aggressive build there as well. Not just noticing the fact that there's no armor apart from that one Warden smell that's on Elise. And he's going to go straight to that Mercurial Scimitar so that Zed cannot assassinate him anymore.
Yeah, and he's starting with the BF sword.
Wow.
Looking to cull people off turrets. He recognizes that he's only going to be able to dash in and get maybe 1 or 2 shots off unless they get a nice stun under the turret. So he's just going for as much AD as possible. And of course, that's just going to make his team fight even scarier.
And of course, armor penetration doesn't work on these turrets as well, and that's exactly what EG are focusing. So not necessarily building that penetration Lucian that we see a lot of with the Ghostblade. Wanting to make sure that he can do as much to these objectives, which has just been really, really great so far.
Yeah, and with that shield, he's going to be able to get off free hits on the turret whenever he wants. Miracle needs to be careful here. He's being collapsed on slightly. And Inox at this point in the game, with Miracle's good early game, oh wow.
Oh, Mash getting caught up by that scat of the week. Oh, Crepo's Unbreakable being fantastic. He's tanking everything. So many stuns. That was brilliant use of that, Mikhails. And Mash again. Oh my goodness, a lot of ultimates used though. No one is going to fall down. Crepo took every ability possible then, I think.
Crepo just tanked a whole team by himself. Used his items on himself. He didn't even have to use his face of the mountain. Got out completely unscathed with the Baron regen. They've now cracked into the base. And another pick cleans it up.
Takes another stun. Look at him. There's the ultimate from Pobelter. Gets exactly the right amount of spheres off. And just takes out the Lulu, even through the wild growth.
Yeah, and that must be so demoralizing, throwing everything you have at a support player and them getting blown up, and then the most fed member of your team, your top laner, gets soloed out pretty much by one person, just Pobelter playing the game fantastically well. Helios now putting so much pressure in from the side, ensuring these minions get through into the turret. They're going to rotate into the mid lane, and you would think that this turret isn't long for the world.
Yeah, Helios just hanging out in front of 3 members of the enemy team. Pobelter does get caught up by that Aqua Prison. Nice work coming through from Sheep, but this is going to be the second inhibitor of the game, and EG collapsing in now onto Team Coast. Reminiscent of last game, but not quite as much of the stomp that it was the game before.
There's definitely signs of life in Coast there. Early game was much more successful this time around.
Oh yeah.
Getting their top lane rolling. Still some problems in the mid lane. The 100 CS advantage on the side of Pobelter. And the bottom lane is about a 40 CS. Maybe a little bit more, less, maybe 25 because of that, of course, the support item coming through on Braum, the face of the mountain. But top and bottom did well this game. It was just really the mid lane where there was a lot of a CS discrepancy, some bullying going on early. But you have to say that Santorin did a great early job. Just late game, at least not scaling as well as Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
Able to set up people with their cocoon, but just not enough damage from the team to come through.
And you have to say that, I mean, Ringer didn't have a lot of help there in the mid lane either, because a lot of that focus was in the top lane, making sure they keep Inox down. So maybe if Ringer had have had a little bit more help, perhaps, you know, you can't exactly count him out just yet. Did manage to get a couple of decent kills. 3, 2, and 2. Not half bad, but that's CS. Very, very dangerous. Mercurial Scimitar has been finished up here by Altec. Next item potentially going to be that last Whisper. Might cave and build armor penetration eventually.
Yeah, or he might look to pick up the Banshee's Veil and just become an unkillable force. There's still not that much armor. And wow, he has 328 AD, I believe. Hold on one second. Let's check that out. 382, in fact. He is so strong.
Ridiculous.
He's going to crush down structures. And once again, Inox's TP's up, so he's just in the bottom lane. And Zed, at this point of the game, you want to generally split push with your Zed because assassinating people is so hard, particularly with an exhaust on the enemy team. But Inox is...
Oh, wow. Look at his build as well. He's got an Abyssal Scepter.
Yeah, he's just looking to fight at this point, and he's taking no damage whatsoever.
If he runs at people, though, that's extra magic resist shred for Pobelter to eliminate someone at the same time. So I really like the cohesion coming through from EG. I just like that item as well. I think it's cool.
And Mash taking another stun in the head. He's going to be fine. He had his shield stack from that Bloodthirster. However, now the super creeps are in the base. They need to send a couple of people to deal with these. And this is just going to mean the third inhibitor will go down so easy for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, you can see as they stream into this base, of course, Mash and Sheep, the only ones now protecting. Mash dodging out of that Scat of the Week sphere combo.
Culling coming through, and that was only... Wow, Sheep's just dead.
Yeah, manages to get the tidal wave off. Crepo didn't believe that that could possibly happen, so it was a little bit late on the Unbreakable, but no matter there at all. 4v5 now in favor of EG, but it's more like a 4v70 with all of these super creeps coming down on top of Coast. Winter's Bite does land, and the ultimate has been popped from Inox. And look at these turrets, they are melting. This is going to be EG going to 2 games to 0. All of the ultimates coming through. That's Ringer. Not going to be able to answer, and congratulations to EG.
Yeah, a better early game coming out of Coast that time. However, EG through the mid game, once again showing how they run these pick comps, coming out on top, and what a great team effort.
It certainly was, but you have to mention that Pobelter, what a